You're receiving this video because you're in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, and we've reviewed the case history very thoroughly, including completing the modified payment plan agreement, which we reviewed the most recent one, and go ahead and exit the Chapter 13 bankruptcy altogether and move on to the next financial chapter in your life. Essentially, you're able to go ahead and do what's called a cash out refinance on your existing mortgage that you have now while you're still in the Chapter 13 bankruptcy. There are a few requirements for this Chapter 13 bankruptcy in order to do this cash out refinance. Requirement number one is we do have to receive the trustee's approval. Requirement number two is that you do have to be on time with payments over the last 12 months with your trustee payments to the bankruptcy court itself. The next is going to be the mortgage payment history. We do need 12 months of payment history for the mortgage in the last 12 months. Now, if you've had a modification or a flex modification or a COVID forbearance, those are still able to do a cash out refinance. The prerequisite in order to still move forward with it is if you've completed a modification or you've resumed making payments after a forbearance, you need to at least make 3 payments since the modification or resuming making your normal payment history. Essentially, the next requirement is going to be is a credit score of at least 500. We're able to go down to 500 because we're going to be doing an FHA loan. And the only way to do this cash out refinance is on an FHA loan, as that is what permits a debtor or a borrower, in our case, to go ahead and do a cash out refinance during the actual process of a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. I've been in the business now for about 16 years. I've done anything from originating to underwriting to processing, until to this day maintain my credentials for underwriting itself. So I'm very familiar with the guidelines, and based off the prerequisites I've outlined in this video, plus a few other items, we do see that you'll be able to qualify for this cash out refinance. The other items that are needed is employment and income. We do have to review that. The debts that are going to be paid through the actual cash out refinance do not get counted towards your debt to income ratio. So if you've taken on debt since the closure of your last mortgage, good news is we're going to go ahead and not factor the debts you're paying off into that calculation, so it would help you qualify for the home loan. We do need to do an appraisal. However, we already done a preliminary appraisal report on your property that is included with the information that we're going to be sending to you as well. Now, the court system and how they feel about doing a cash out refinance, at the end of the day, you're taking out new debt. So that's not always a fun thing that they like to consider. At the end of the day, every month that you continue in your Chapter 13 bankruptcy, you're incurring additional fees with your actual attorney. Did you know that most Chapter 13 bankruptcies actually don't work out successfully? It's over 50% of them. And that reason why is life happens, things come up, bills come up, and unplanned expenses come up. This is a way to go ahead and get out of that Chapter 13 cycle. If you also didn't know, Chapter 13 trustees, they do get a percentage based off the amount that they actually collect. At the end of the day, the Chapter 13 bankruptcy trustee doesn't really care about what they're collecting, or more so the profit or their benefit in the actual case itself. Their objective and number one objective is purely just to make sure that the Chapter 13 is discharged and all the debtors are paid accordingly. The point is that this is going to be proposing a plan to them that's going to get you out of the bankruptcy, paying the creditors, and getting this case closed, and everyone gets to move on to the next chapter in their life, and more especially, you get to move on to the next financial chapter in your life. Now, we are a local lender here in Las Vegas. We're just off of Fort Apache and Sahara. We can go over these details in person as well, and please bring any questions that you have. We're happy to answer them. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video, and we hope that we can be a help to you and assist you in completing this Chapter 13 bankruptcy and getting you on to the next financial chapter. Have a great day.